When Amara walked down that aisle in part 1, she became the bride of a monster. But that was just the beginning. Part 2 is where everything falls apart. She discovers Minho manipulated her from the start, manufactured her family's debt, orchestrated every choice that led her to him. She was never his bride. She was his weapon. Now his enemies are closing in. His ex wants revenge. His father wants him dead. And Amara has to decide if the man who destroyed her deserves to be saved. New here. You need to watch part 1 of Amara and Kang Minho's story first, or none of this will hit the same. Everyone else, buckle up, because somewhere between the bullets and betrayal, the impossible happens. She starts falling for him all over again. And that might be the most dangerous thing of all. Smash that like button if you're ready for pure chaos, and let's dive in. The scream tore Amara from sleep. Not her own, her mother's. She bolted upright in the massive bed, silk sheets tangling around her legs. Minho's side was cold, empty. He'd left before dawn again, disappearing into that shadowed world of his she wasn't permitted to enter. Another scream. Amara's bare feet hit marble as she ran, her nightgown flowing behind her like a ghost. The corridors of the Kang estate stretched endlessly, but she followed the sound of her mother's terror until she burst through the drawing room doors and froze. Her mother knelt on the floor, hands bound, a gun pressed to her temple. Chidi stood beside her, his face swollen and bruised, blood crusting his split lip. And holding the weapon, wearing a smile sharp enough to cut glass, stood a woman Amara had never seen before. She was beautiful in the way poison was beautiful. Delicate features, porcelain skin, wearing a crimson dress that matched the rage in her eyes. "You must be the replacement," the woman said, her accent crisp, Korean. "How disappointing. I expected someone more impressive." "Who are you?" Amara's voice came out stronger than she felt. "Sue Lee. Though I suppose Minho hasn't mentioned me." She laughed, bitter and sharp. "Of course he hasn't. Tell me, replacement, did he at least pretend to want you? Or was he honest about what you really are?" Amara's pulse hammered. "Let my mother go." "Answer my question first." Sue Lee cocked the gun, and Amara's mother whimpered. "Did Minho tell you why he married you? Did he explain what you were actually for?" "He married me because—" Amara's voice caught. "Because why? To settle Chidi's debt? Because he wanted her? Because you were bait, darling." Sue Lee's smile widened. "Let me guess. Your idiot brother owed money to some very dangerous people. Minho offered a solution: marriage, protection. But did you ever wonder why a man like Kang Minho would waste his time on a nobody from Lagos?" The room tilted. "You're lying," Amara whispered. "Am I?" Sue Lee pulled out her phone, tossed it to Amara. "Read it yourself." Amara's hands shook as she caught the device. On screen, emails, dozens of them, surveillance photos of her from months ago, before she'd ever met Minho. Reports detailing her routine, her family, her vulnerabilities, and one message that made her blood turn to ice. Subject Amara Okafor exhibits ideal characteristics for Operation Viper: isolated family unit, financial desperation, strong-willed personality for authenticity, emotional attachment unlikely, recommend immediate acquisition. Minho's name at the bottom, dated 3 months before Chidi's debt. He set it up. Sue Lee said softly, "Your brother's debt. The collection. All of it. Minho needed a wife to draw me out. You see, I've been hunting him for 2 years, ever since he destroyed my family's empire. But I'm careful. I never make a move unless I'm certain. A new wife, though, someone he'd have to protect publicly. That's an opening." Amara couldn't breathe. The phone slipped from her fingers, clattering against marble. So thank you, replacement, for making yourself such an easy target. Su Li's finger moved to the trigger. Now, where is he? Where's Minho? Right here. The voice came from the doorway, cold, lethal, unmistakably his. Minho stood framed in shadow, his suit immaculate despite the gun in his hand. His eyes met Amara's across the room, and for one heartbeat, she saw something crack in that icy facade. Regret. Then his attention shifted to Su Li. Let them go. Your fight is with me. My fight is with everything you love, Su Li countered. She pressed the gun harder against Amara's mother's head. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? That I wouldn't see through your pathetic scheme? The scheme worked, didn't it? You're here. And now I'm going to take everything from you, the way you took everything from me. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Starting with her. Time splintered. Su Li's finger tightened. Minho moved, faster than thought. Gun rising. Amara screamed. 3 shots exploded through the room. Amara's mother collapsed, not from a bullet, from Chidi, who'd thrown himself forward, knocking her aside as gunfire erupted. Su Li stumbled backward, crimson blooming across her shoulder where Minho's bullet had struck. But she was already moving, returning fire as she dove behind the marble column. Get them out! Minho roared at his men, flooding into the room. Now! Strong hands grabbed Amara, dragging her toward the exit even as she fought, screaming for her mother, for Chidi. She caught a glimpse of her brother, alive, bleeding from his arm but alive, being hauled away by guards. Then she was in the corridor, doors slamming shut behind her, muffling the chaos of continued gunfire. Let me go! She wrenched free from the guard. My family is being taken to the medical wing, Ma'am. The guard's face remained impassive. Mr. Kang's orders. I don't give a damn about his orders. He's a liar. He used me. He used all of us. Amara. She spun. Minho stood in the doorway, his white shirt splattered with blood. Whose, she couldn't tell. His face was carved from stone, but his eyes held something raw. Don't, she hissed. Don't you dare say my name like you have the right. Su Li escaped through the East Passage. She'll regroup and come back. We need to move you to the safe house. Move me. Fury ignited in her chest, burning away the shock. You don't get to give me orders anymore. You lied. You set up my brother. You manipulated all of us like we were pieces on your board. Yes. The single word, flat and honest, hit harder than any excuse. I did. Was any of it real? Her voice cracked despite her rage. The things you said, the way you looked at me, was it all part of the plan? Minho stepped closer, and she hated how her body still reacted to his proximity, pulse quickening, breath catching. He reached for her face, and she slapped his hand away. Don't touch me. It was real, he said quietly. The plan was real. The manipulation was real. But what I feel for you, Amara, that became real the moment you looked at me with fire in your eyes and refused to break. Liar. I'm many things, but not about this. His jaw tightened. I won't apologize for what I did. In my world, you use every advantage to survive. Your brother's debt gave me an opening. I took it. But I never expected... He stopped, something flickering across his face. Expected what? Amara demanded. To care whether you lived or died. The confession hung between them, raw and bleeding. Then alarms screamed through the estate. East Wing breach! A voice crackled through the intercom. Multiple hostiles! An explosion rocked the building, throwing them both against the wall. Smoke began filtering through the vents. Minho grabbed her wrist. Move! Now! My mother is being evacuated with Chidi. They're safe. You won't be if you don't run. Another explosion. Closer this time. The lights flickered, died. plunging them into emergency red lighting that turned everything the colour of blood. They ran through corridors that had become a war zone. Minho's guards fought desperately against Suli's forces, men in black tactical gear who moved with military precision. Bodies littered the marble floors. The pristine mansion had become a killing ground. Minho moved like death itself, fluid, precise, brutal. He shot without hesitation, protecting Amara with his body even as she hated him for it, because despite everything, despite the betrayal and lies, he was keeping her alive. They burst into his private study. He locked the door, shoved a bookshelf against it for good measure, then moved to the wall panel. "There's a tunnel," he said, pressing his palm to the scanner. "Leads to the garage. Cars prepped for emergency evacuation." "I'm not going anywhere with you." He turned, and the look in his eyes made her breath catch. "Amara, I know you hate me. You have every right. But Suli won't stop until everyone I care about is dead. And whether you believe it or not, that includes you. Because I'm useful to your plan. Because I love you!" The words exploded from him, raw and desperate. Because somewhere between the manipulation and the marriage, I fell in love with my own damn trap. And now Suli knows it, which means you're not just bait anymore, you're the target. Amara's heart hammered against her ribs. "You don't get to say that. You don't get to use those words after what you did." The door shuddered under heavy impact. Minho's hand found hers. "We can fight about this later. Right now, I need you to trust me one more time." "Trust you?" She laughed bitterly. "You're asking the impossible." "I know." His thumb brushed across her knuckles, the gesture achingly gentle. "But I'm asking anyway." Another impact. Wood splintered. Amara looked at the door, then at Minho, at the man who'd bought her like property, who'd lied and manipulated and controlled her life, who'd also thrown himself into gunfire to protect her, who was looking at her now like she was the only thing in the world worth saving. "Damn you," she whispered. Then she ran with him into the tunnel. The tunnel was narrow, claustrophobic, lit only by emergency strips along the floor. Their footsteps echoed off concrete walls as they ran, Minho's hand iron tight around hers. "How long have you been planning this?" Amara panted. "The escape route, the surveillance, all of it." 2 years, since Suli destroyed my operation in Seoul and vanished. His voice was tight. "She killed my partner, burned my warehouses, cost me 30 million in a single night, then disappeared like smoke." "So you decided to use an innocent woman as bait?" "Yes." At least he didn't pretend otherwise. They reached a junction. Minho paused, checking his phone. "Guards report your family reached the safe house. They're secure." Some of the tension in Amara's chest eased. "And Lee, still in the estate. She's not after me, Amara. Not anymore." His eyes met hers in the dim light. "She's after you, because she knows hurting you is the one thing that will destroy me completely." "Then let me go." The words came out before she could stop them. "Give her what she wants. End this." "No." The word was absolute. "I've made a lot of choices I'm not proud of. Used people, manipulated outcomes. But I draw the line at sacrificing you to save myself. Even if it means losing everything. Everything without you is nothing." The confession hung in the narrow space between them, more intimate than any kiss. Then his phone buzzed. His face went white as he read the message. "What?" Amara demanded. He turned the screen toward her. A video, Suli's face, smiling that poisonous smile, and behind her, Amara's mother, Chidi, bound, bleeding. "The safe house wasn't safe," Suli's voice purred through the speakers. "Did you really think I didn't have people inside your organization, Minho? I've been 3 steps ahead since the beginning." The camera panned to show explosives rigged around the room. "You have 1 hour. Bring Amara to the old gang warehouse by the docks, come alone, and maybe I'll let your little pet's family live. The screen went black. Amara couldn't breathe. Her mother, Chidi, again, always paying for choices that weren't theirs. We'll get them back, Minho said, his voice steel. I have teams. No. Amara's voice was hollow. We do exactly what she says. Amara, my mother is there because of your plan. Chidi is bleeding because you manipulated him. So we end this, now. She met his eyes, and he must have seen something in hers. Determination, rage, exhaustion. Because he nodded slowly. Together then. Together, she agreed. Neither of them said what they both knew. Only one of them was walking out of that warehouse alive. The car cut through Lagos like a blade through flesh, silent, lethal, inevitable. Minho drove with one hand on the wheel, the other checking the chamber of his gun. Amara sat rigid in the passenger seat, watching the city blur past, neon signs, street vendors closing up shop, life continuing as though her world wasn't ending. You're not going in unarmed, Minho said, breaking the suffocating silence. He reached into the glove compartment, pulled out a compact pistol. Safety here. Point and shoot. Don't hesitate. Amara stared at the weapon. 24 hours ago, she'd been a nursing student, worried about exams. Now she was heading into a death trap with a gun in her hand and a killer beside her. I don't know if I can shoot someone. You won't have to. I'll handle Lee. His jaw was carved granite. But if anyone else comes at you, anyone, you put them down. No mercy. They won't show you any. She took the gun. It was heavier than she expected, cold against her palm. Minho, if this goes wrong, it won't. If it does, she pressed on, and we don't make it out. I need you to know I don't forgive you. For the lies, the manipulation, what you did to my family. He nodded slowly, eyes still on the road. I know. But I also need you to know, she swallowed hard, that somewhere in all the chaos and blood and terror, I started to care about you, and I hate that. I hate that even knowing what you are, my heart still betrays me when you look at me. His hands tightened on the wheel until his knuckles went white. After this is over, he said quietly, if we survive, I'll give you anything you want. Freedom, money, new identities for your family. I'll disappear from your life completely if that's what you need. And if that's not what I want? For the first time since they'd entered the car, he looked at her, really looked at her, and in his eyes she saw the truth he'd been trying to hide behind walls of ice and violence. He loved her, completely, destructively, the kind of love that burned empires to the ground. Then I'll spend the rest of my life proving I deserve you, he said, even though I never will. Before she could respond, they turned the corner. The warehouse loomed ahead, a skeletal structure of rust and broken dreams, surrounded by shipping containers that created a maze of shadows, perfect for an ambush. Minho killed the engine 2 blocks away. We walk from here. Stay close. Stay quiet. They moved through darkness like ghosts, Minho leading with his gun drawn, Amara following with her heart in her throat. The docks smelled of salt and diesel and something rotten. Death, maybe, or just the corpse of hope. The warehouse door hung open. An invitation to hell. Inside, emergency lights cast everything in sickly green. Water dripped somewhere, a rhythmic countdown. And in the centre of the vast space, strapped to chairs beneath a spiderweb of wires and explosives, sat Amara's mother and Chidi. Her mother's eyes widened when she saw Amara. No, baby, run, it's a trap. Of course it's a trap. Suli's voice echoed from above. That's what makes it fun. She stepped into view on the catwalk overhead, flanked by 6 armed men, Her shoulder was bandaged where Minho had shot her, but she moved without pain, adrenaline and rage fueling her. Right on time. How romantic, walking into death together. She smiled down at them. Did you tell her yet, Minho? About the real reason you chose her? Lee, this is between us. Oh, but she deserves to know the whole truth. Su Lee's eyes glittered with malice. See, Amara, it wasn't just about drawing me out. Minho needed someone expendable, someone whose death wouldn't matter to anyone important. Your brother's debt was real enough, but Minho? He's the one who made sure Chidi got in so deep there was no way out. He manufactured your desperation. Amara's breath caught. She looked at Minho. Tell me she's lying. His silence was answer enough. Your brother gambled, Minho said finally, his voice hollow. But I made sure he kept losing. I owned the games, the dealers, all of it. I needed leverage, and he gave it to me. The betrayal cut deeper than any blade. You destroyed my family on purpose. Yes. So you could use me. Yes. She raised her gun, aimed it at his head. Her hand trembled, but didn't waver. Give me one reason I shouldn't kill you right now. I don't have one. He didn't move, didn't flinch. If anyone should die tonight, it's me. I'm the monster here, not Lee, me. Oh, this is delicious, Su Lee laughed. But sadly, we're on a schedule. She held up a detonator. You have 60 seconds to make a choice, Minho. Wait, subscribe right now if you're not already, because the next 15 minutes, absolute chaos. Someone's father arrives, blood spills. Everything changes. Don't miss a second. You can save Amara's family. I'll give you the disarm code. But the cost is your life. Kneel. Put your gun down. Let me put a bullet in your head. Or refuse, and I blow them all to pieces while you watch. Don't! Chidi shouted from his chair. Don't give her what she wants. Shut up, Su Lee snapped. She nodded to one of her men, who struck Chidi across the face. Amara's mother sobbed quietly, tears streaming down her face. Minho looked at Amara. Then, slowly, deliberately, he dropped to his knees. The code, he said. Give me the code first. You think I'm stupid. Su Lee descended the stairs, gun trained on him. You die first, then they go free. No, Amara breathed. Minho, don't. It's already done. He looked up at her, and his face was peaceful in a way she'd never seen. I told you I'd give you anything. I meant it. He set his gun on the concrete floor, pushed it away. Su Lee circled him like a shark, savouring the moment. The great Kang Minho, brought to his knees by love. Your father would be ashamed. My father was a bastard who only cared about power. Minho replied calmly. I'd rather die loving someone than live as dead inside as he was. How touching. She pressed the gun to his temple. Any last words? Yes. Minho's eyes found Amara's. I love you. I'm sorry. And whatever you become after this, don't let my darkness stain you. Stay in the light. Su Lee's finger tightened on the trigger. Amara moved without thought, raising her gun, aiming not at Su Lee, but at the explosive charges on the wall behind her family. Stop! Amara's voice rang out. Or I shoot the charges and we all die, including you. Su Lee froze. You wouldn't. Try me. Amara's hands were steady now, fury burning away fear. You want revenge? You want to hurt Minho? Then you'll have to let him watch me blow us all to hell, because I'm done being anyone's pawn. The standoff stretched like razor wire. Then Su Lee laughed. You've got fire. I like that. Fine. New deal. Shoot him yourself. Prove you're not just another piece in his game. Kill Kang Minho, and I'll let your family walk. Amara, no. Minho started. Do it. Su Lee insisted. Right now, or I detonate everything. Amara's world narrowed to the gun in her hand. The man on his knees. The family behind him. Mathematics of survival. One life for three. The monster who'd destroyed her world for the people she loved. Her hands shook as she aimed at Minho's chest. "It's okay," he said softly. "I understand. Do what you have to do." Tears blurred her vision. "I hate you. I know. You ruined everything. I know. But I also—" Her voice broke. "I also can't imagine a world without you in it, and I hate myself for that even more." She adjusted her aim, fired. The shot echoed like thunder. But not at Minho. At the lights above Su Li's head, everything plunged into darkness. "Now!" Minho roared. "Hold on. Pause. You see what's happening here? Amara went from victim to warrior in 20 minutes. If you're hooked right now, and I know you are, hit that subscribe button. Because stories like this, I drop them weekly. And trust me, the next 15 minutes are absolutely unhinged. Blood gets spilled, and Amara makes a choice that changes everything. Don't look away. Chaos exploded. Minho rolled, grabbed his gun, came up firing at the muzzle flashes from above. Amara ran for her family, bullets chewing up concrete around her feet. Then, backup lights flickered on, revealing the real trap. Minho's men poured in from every entrance. 12, 24, more. They'd been there all along, waiting in the shipping containers, on the catwalks, hidden in shadows. "You think I came alone?" Minho was on his feet now, gun trained on Su Li. "I've been planning this for 2 years, Li. Every contingency, every angle. The moment you took Amara's family, you lost." Su Li's face twisted with rage. "Then we all die." She hit the detonator. Nothing happened. "Looking for these?" One of Minho's men held up disabled charges. "Diffused them while you were monologuing. Classic villain mistake." Su Li snarled, bringing her gun up. 3 shots rang out simultaneously. Minho, Amara, and Chidi, who'd somehow gotten free and grabbed a guard's weapon. Su Li collapsed, blood blooming across her chest like flowers of death. But she was laughing as she died, blood bubbling at her lips. "You still don't get it," she gasped. "This was never about killing you." Minho knelt beside her. Then, what was it about? Distraction. Her smile was crimson. "While you were here, playing hero, my people were hitting your real empire. The ports, the warehouses, the accounts." She coughed, spattering blood. "By morning, you'll have nothing." Minho's phone buzzed. Then again. Again. A cascade of alerts. His face went pale as he read them. "She's right," he whispered. "They're gone. Everything. $2 billion. 10 years of work. All of it." Su Li's laughter faded to a rattle. "See you in hell, Minho." Then she was gone. Silence descended like ash. Amara ran to her mother, cutting the bonds, pulling her into a fierce embrace. "Mama, I'm so sorry." "Shh, baby, I'm okay. We're okay." Chidi limped over, his face pale but alive. "Amara, I'm sorry for all of it. I was weak and I let them use me." She pulled him into the embrace too, the 3 of them holding each other while Minho's empire burned down around them. Finally, Amara stood, walked to where Minho stood frozen, staring at his phone like it held his death sentence. "So that's it?" she asked. "You've lost everything? Everything that matters to my organization?" "Yes." His voice was empty. "The legitimate businesses will survive, but the empire I built, gone. Li won. Even in death, she won." "Good." He looked at her sharply. "Maybe you needed to lose." Amara said quietly. "Maybe we both did, because empires built on blood and lies deserve to fall. And what do I deserve?" She thought about that, about the lies and manipulation, about the man who'd thrown himself into gunfire for her, about the monster who'd knelt before an enemy to save her family. "I don't know yet," she admitted, but you're going to spend a long time finding out. She turned to leave with her family. Amara, Minho called. She stopped, but didn't turn around. If I build something new, something better, something without the darkness, his voice cracked, would you consider being part of it? She looked back at him, this man who'd broken her world and her heart, standing in the ruins of his empire. Ask me again in 6 months, she said, when you've proven you can survive without the crown. Then she walked away, leaving the king alone in his fallen kingdom. The apartment was modest, a world away from marble halls and armed guards. Amara stood at the window of the small Lagos flat, watching the morning sun paint the city in shades of gold and rust. Behind her, her mother hummed while preparing breakfast, a sound so normal it almost hurt. 6 weeks since the warehouse, and 6 weeks since she'd walked away from Kang Minho. 6 weeks of silence. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost ignored it, but something made. Her answer. Amara Okafor? A woman's voice, crisp, professional. My name is Jin-A Park. I represent certain interests in Seoul. We need to meet. It's about Minho. Amara's stomach dropped. Is he? Alive, yes, but in considerable danger. Cafe Magnolia, 1 hour. Come alone. The line went dead. The cafe was crowded, anonymous. Jin-A Park sat in the corner booth, mid-40s, designer suit, eyes that had seen too much. She didn't smile when Amara slid into the seat across from her. Thank you for coming. Jin-A pushed a folder across the table. Before we begin, you should know what happened after you left. Amara opened the folder. Photos, documents, news clippings. Minho had dismantled what remained of his criminal operations, sold off assets, paid restitution to families his empire had hurt. He'd taken his legitimate businesses, tech companies, real estate holdings, and pivoted them entirely legal. He's been rebuilding, Jin-A explained. Not an empire, a life. He's funded schools in the communities his operations damaged, created job programs. He's trying to atone. Amara finished quietly. Yes, but someone doesn't want him to succeed. Jin-A pulled out another photo. Do you know this man? Amara's blood turned to ice. The man in the photo was older, distinguished, with cold eyes that looked eerily familiar. Kang Jae-sung, Jin-A said. Minho's father. He's been in prison for 15 years, but 3 days ago, he was released on a technicality, and the first thing he did was put a bounty on his own son. Why? Because Minho betrayed the family code. He went legitimate, showed weakness, and in Jae-sung's world, weakness is unforgivable. Jin-A's eyes hardened. The bounty is $10 million. Every assassin, mercenary, and desperate criminal from here to Shanghai is hunting him. Minho has maybe 72 hours before someone collects. Amara's hands shook. Why are you telling me this? Because you're the only person he refused protection for. He has guards watching your mother, your brother. But you? He said, and I quote, she made her choice. I won't trap her again. Ginny leaned forward. But here's what you need to understand. Jae-sung isn't just targeting Minho, he's targeting everyone Minho cares about, which means your family is still in danger, which means you are in danger. Then what do you want from me? Jin-A's smile was sharp. I want you to save him, because despite everything, the empire, the guards, the resources, the only thing that's kept him fighting is the hope that maybe, someday, you'll forgive him. Take that away, and he's already dead. Minho's new office was in a modest building in Victoria Island. No armed guards, no marble, no throne. Just a man at a desk, looking thinner than she remembered, tired in a way that went beyond physical. He looked up when she entered. For a moment, neither of them moved. Jin-A sent you, he said finally. It wasn't a question. Your father's coming for you. I know. And you're just sitting here, waiting to die. He set down his pen carefully. I'm tying up loose ends, making sure the programs I started will continue without me, ensuring your family's protection is permanent, regardless of what happens. So, you've given up. I've accepted reality. His voice was hollow. I spent my life building an empire of violence. I don't get to retire peacefully. This is the debt coming due. Amara crossed the room, slammed her hands on his desk. That's not atonement. That's cowardice. Fire sparked in his eyes, the first real emotion she'd seen. You think I want to die? You think I want to leave you? He stopped himself, jaw clenched. Then fight, she demanded. You taught me that survival requires using every advantage, so use yours. I don't have any left. Lee destroyed my network. My father turned my old allies against me. I'm alone. No, Amara said quietly. You're not. He stared at her. I don't forgive you, she continued. Maybe I never will, but I also can't watch you die when there's something I can do to stop it. So tell me, what's your father's weakness? Minho's expression shifted. Surprise, hope, something desperate and breaking. Why would you help me after everything? Because someone once told me that hate and love aren't so different. They both consume you. She met his eyes, and apparently I'm not done being consumed. For the first time in 6 weeks, Minho smiled, small, broken, real. My father's weakness is his pride, he said. He'll want to kill me himself, face to face. He'll see anything else as incomplete. Then we give him what he wants. Amara's mind raced, but on our terms. Amara, he's not Sue Lee. He's trained killers for 40 years. He's the man who taught you everything you know. She leaned across the desk. Which means you know exactly how he thinks, how he moves, what he'll expect. Minho studied her face. You've changed. You broke me, she said simply. I had to rebuild. And the woman who came back, she doesn't break anymore. The plan was insane. They would stage Minho's death, publicly, messily, in a way that would draw Jae-sung out to confirm the kill himself. When he came to gloat over his son's corpse, they'd have one chance to end this. If this goes wrong, Minho started as they prepared. It won't. Amara cut him off, echoing his words from the car 6 weeks ago. They chose the old Kang estate, abandoned now, a monument to fallen. Empire. Minho had kept it as a reminder of what he'd lost. Now it would be the stage for his resurrection or his tomb. Jin-Ae's people rigged the scene. Blood packs, fake wounds, a body double at distance, leaked information to the right channels. By midnight, word had spread. Kang Minho was dead. By 2 a.m., Jae-sung arrived. Amara watched from the shadows as the old man entered the estate, flanked by 6 bodyguards. He was smaller than she'd expected, but his presence filled the room like poison gas. He stood over the body double, smiled coldly. Weak! He spat in Korean. My son was weak. Love made him weak, and weakness is opportunity, Minho finished, stepping from the shadows. Very much alive. Jae-sung's guards raised their weapons, but Minho's people emerged from every corner. Jin-Ae's mercenaries, loyal to contract, not blood. You taught me that, father. Minho continued. Always watch for weakness in your enemy. But you made a mistake. What mistake? Jae-sung's voice was ice. Thinking love made me weak. Minho's eyes found Amara's across the room. It made me something far more dangerous. It made me someone with something to lose. And men with something to lose fight harder than men with nothing. Sentimental fool. Jae-sung snarled. He moved with viper speed, faster than a man his age should, gun appearing in his hand, aimed not at Minho, but at Amara. Then let's test that theory. Her life or yours. Choose. Time fractured. Minho moved. Jae-sung fired. But Amara was already diving. The gun Minho had given her 6 weeks ago suddenly in her hand, muscle memory taking over. She fired once. The bullet took Jae-sung in the shoulder, spinning him around. Did you see that? The woman who couldn't hold a gun 6 weeks ago just dropped a Mafia king without hesitation. If you're still watching without subscribing, what are you even doing? Hit that button. Because the ending is going to absolutely destroy you emotionally. 5 minutes left. Stay with me. His shot went wide, embedding in marble. Minho was on him in a heartbeat. Weapon pressed to his father's temple. It's over. Minho said quietly. You won't do it. Jae-sung hissed. You don't have the spine. You're right. Minho stepped back, lowered his gun. I won't kill you, but I won't save you either. He nodded to Jin-ae. Make the call. Within minutes, sirens wailed outside. Police, real police, not bought ones, flooded the estate. Jin-ae had been collecting evidence for weeks. Testimonies, financial records, proof of 40 years of crimes. Kang Jae-sung would spend the rest of his life in a cell, a real one this time. As they dragged him away, the old man locked eyes with his son one final time. You've become soft, he spat. No, Minho replied. I've become human. There's a difference. They stood on the balcony as dawn broke over Lagos, painting the sky in impossible colours. The estate was empty now, just ghosts and memories. So, what happens now? Amara asked quietly. I don't know, Minho admitted. For the first time in my life, I have no plan. No empire to build or protect, no enemies to fight, just possibility. That terrifies you, doesn't it? Yes. He laughed softly. Almost as much as losing you terrifies me. Amara looked at this man who'd destroyed her life and saved it, who'd lied to her and bled for her, who'd been a monster and was trying desperately to become something else. I meant what I said. She told him. I don't forgive you. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I know. But I think... She took a breath. I think I want to see who you become. Without the crown. Without the darkness. Just... Minho. Not Kang Minho the kingpin. Just Minho the man. He turned to face her, and in the dawn light, she saw tears on his face. I don't deserve this chance. No, she agreed. You don't. But I'm giving it to you anyway. Not because you've earned it, but because I want to see if people like us, people broken by violence and lies, can build something real out of the ruins. And if I fail, then I'll be the first to walk away. She stepped closer. But if you succeed, if you prove you can be the man you showed me in those moments between the darkness, then maybe we can build something neither of us has ever had before. What's that? Peace. The word hung between them, fragile and impossibly beautiful, slowly, carefully, as though afraid she might disappear. Minho reached for her hand. She let him take it, his fingers intertwining with hers. I love you, he whispered. I know I don't have the right to say it, but I know, she interrupted. I've always known. Since the moment you threw yourself in front of bullets for me, since you knelt before your enemy to save my family, since you gave up everything rather than trap me again. Do you... He couldn't finish the question. Ask me again in 6 months, she said, echoing her words from the warehouse. Ask me when you've proven you can build instead of destroy, when you've shown me the man beneath the monster. And then I'll tell you the truth I've been too afraid to admit. She squeezed his hand. That somewhere in all the chaos and blood and impossible choices, I fell in love with my captor, and I'm terrified of what that means. His breath caught. Amara. 6 months, she repeated firmly. Prove to me that love can be more than just a weapon, that we can be more than just our worst choices. I will, he promised. Every day, I'll prove it every single day. Behind them, the sun crested the horizon, burning away the last shadows. They stood together in the light, two broken people trying to believe in second chances, holding on to each other as though they were each other's only anchor in a world that had tried to destroy them. And for the first time since this nightmare began, Amara felt something she thought she'd lost forever. Hope. 6 months later, Amara walked into the small community centre Minho had built in her old neighbourhood. Inside, children laughed and played, adults learned job skills. Hope grew in places where only desperation had lived before. She found him in the classroom, teaching coding to teenagers who looked at him like he hung the moon. He didn't see her at first, too focused on helping a girl debug her first program. When he finally looked up and their eyes met across the room, the smile that broke across his face was pure sunlight. He excused himself, crossed to her. You came, he said softly. You asked me to. I've been asking you to for 6 months. I know. I was waiting to see if you'd stop. Never, he promised. I'll ask you every day for the rest of my life if that's what it takes. She studied his face, the face that had haunted her dreams and nightmares. He looked different now, lighter. The darkness that had lived behind his eyes had been replaced by something fragile and genuine. You wanted to ask me something, she reminded him. 6 months ago, you said you'd ask again. His hand found hers. Do you... He swallowed hard. After everything, after all the lies and blood and impossible choices, do you think you could ever love me? The question hung in the air between them. Amara smiled, small, real, terrifying in its honesty. Ask me again tomorrow, she said, and the day after, and the day after that. Keep asking until I can't remember a time when the answer wasn't obvious. Is it obvious now? She pulled him close, rose on her toes, and whispered against his lips. What do you think? Then she kissed him. Not in the shadow of violence or the heat of danger, but in broad daylight, in a room full of hope, surrounded by the future they were building together. When they broke apart, both of them were crying. I love you, she said. Finally, completely. I love you, and I choose you, and I choose us. Not because you've earned it, but because love isn't about deserving. It's about deciding, and I've decided that you're worth fighting for. Minho pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was the only thing keeping him tethered to earth. I'll spend the rest of my life being worth that decision, he promised into her hair. I know, she replied. That's why I made it. Behind them, a child laughed. Life continued. Hope grew. And two people who'd been forged in darkness learned, finally, to live in light. They say love is patient, love is kind, but sometimes love is war. Sometimes it's choosing to believe in monsters who want to become men. Sometimes it's finding light in the darkest places. This is their story, and it's only just beginning. But in the shadows of Seoul, someone was watching. Someone who knew secrets about Minho's past that could destroy everything they'd built. And in part 3, Amara will discover that some ghosts never stay buried. If you want part 3, smash that like button and comment. I need more right now. Drop your theories about what happens next and hit subscribe because this story is far from over. The king may have fallen, but the queen, she's just beginning to rise.